The city of Muscatine is known for its watermelon and pearl buttons, but it's also home to a pivotal moment in American history that some say is getting lost. Tonight, Cedar Sanchez sheds a light on the story of Alexander Clark and the impact he's made across the country.
In May of 1842, a 16-year-old boy named Alexander Clark settled in Muscatine, Iowa.
Alexander Clark was the most important black man of the 19th century.
During his time in what was known as Bloomington, he would establish the African Methodist Episcopal Church, the first in Iowa. In 1863, he volunteered to serve in the Civil War, but was barred due to a physical defect. He then went on to recruit over 1,000 men to serve in the Iowa's first black infantry. He would also have an impact in the public school system. In 1867, Clark's 13-year-old daughter, Susan, was denied access to a public school. That meant that she would not be able to attend school that was just a few blocks away from their home, forcing her to go to school miles away. But that would all change when her father sued the schools district and the Iowa Supreme Court ruled in their favor.
86 years before Brown versus Board of Education at the national level, we had Clark versus Muscatine schools, where the court said emphatically, every student in Iowa, no matter what background, no matter what skin color, religion, rich, poor, language, ethnicity, you name it, same rights to public education.
After the lawsuit, Clark would graduate from the University of Iowa's law school, being the second black student to do so, with his son being first, Alexander Clark Jr. Historians will tell you that Alexander did a lot more than we just mentioned. The problem is, you won't find that in a history book.
The more I've researched his story, the more it puzzles me that he gets lost again and again.
Since 2005, former Muscatine Journal reporter Daniel Clark has been doing research on Alexander Clark.
People couldn't search newspapers the way we can now with the internet.
As part of the Alexander Clark Foundation, he makes it his mission to share the lost information.
I think that got the attention of a lot of people to say, this guy from Iowa really was important.
And he's not the only one trying to keep the Clark story alive. This is the actual home of Alexander Clark that is now owned by a man who took it on as a project after graduating from college in 1979. How does that make you feel that there's so much history here
that nobody cares about?
That man is Ken Sizzle. He describes himself as not a historian, but has become an Alexander Clark expert.
I took on this project because the state of Iowa did not want to see the house destroyed. They felt it was too important. We don't want it torn down. Would you take it on? And foolishly, I thought, I could probably do that in a couple of years and then I can move on. I'm still here 45 years later.
It's in this basement where he stores documents.
He didn't intend to leave a legacy. He intended to do what was right and encourage other people to do what was right in terms of equal rights, human rights.
For Sizzle, every piece of paper is part of a bigger puzzle.
You keep gathering these, and eventually you've got hundreds of little pieces of information, and then something will happen. You'll get a new piece of information.
And now he wishes that people cared the same way he does.
I think lives are so busy that having a piece of information, historical information, is just way out there. They don't have time for it.
As years go by and more information on Clark comes out, his legacy is becoming more recognized. 151 years after fighting for Susan, a middle school was named after her. And just like her father, there's not much known information about Susan. In fact, there's not even a photo of her. But just recently, there was a book published about Susan Clark in hopes to spread the Clark family legacy.
Part of our story is that we're old white guys telling this story. We want young people and people of all skin colors to be involved in this.
It's a goal for the duo to continue the preservation of a legacy. As part of the Alexander Clark project, Sizzle hopes to make the house a National Historical Landmark.
That would be my contribution towards preserving the legacy of Alexander Clark. But they need to make a decision soon. I'm not going to live forever.
We're known for Alexander Clark. We'll never escape it, and we might as well build on it and be proud of it.
President Benjamin Harrison appointed Alexander Clark as U.S. Minister to Liberia in late 1890. Shortly after, he died at the age of 65 in Liberia. Today, he is found buried at the Greenwood Cemetery here in Muscatine, where you can find his monument. The writing on the marble is slowly fading away, but his legacy will always live on. In Muscatine, Cesar Sanchez with photojournalist Brad Mosier, WQAD News 8.
Incredible story there. The Alexander Clark Foundation hopes to be able to have the home recognized as a National Historical Landmark by 2026. That year would also be Clark's 200th birthday.